Mark Skaar with Richie Ranno. You know him from Starz and Hellcats, and we're going to find out what he's been up to lately. Richie, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Right now, I just heard about it recently, actually. You and Jimmy Coons have been working on a lot of things, and chiefly among them is this God's Tribute album that is coming out on Halloween. Tell me, first of all, how you got hooked up with Jimmy and how you got hooked up with this record.
Okay, two interesting things, actually. A year ago, exactly, September, a year ago, I was playing a memorial tribute for Rusty Paul, Les Paul's son. And Rusty was a very good friend of mine for many years and passed away 2 New Year's Eves ago. And they asked me to come and just play, and they had a big outdoor thing set up, and they said, "Oh, you're going to bring your band?" I said, "No, I'm just coming. I'll bring my guitar." Mm-hmm. So I got there, and great drummer, Jay Didymo was the drummer, and there was a bass player there, and they had regular bands, but they had those 2 guys were hanging around, kind of helping out, organizing the thing. I said, "Look, I'll just do like 4 or 5 blues songs, and you guys back me up." And they said, "Sure." So it sounded really nice out there. They had a great PA and played pretty well, I have to say. And this guy was taking pictures, this really tall guy. I wasn't really paying attention to him. He came up to me as soon as he was done. He goes, "Richie, remember me? Arnie Goodman. Do you know Arnie Goodman?"
I do not.
Well, Arnie owned a chain of record stores in the 80s and probably early 90s in the New York City area called Zigzag Records. And then he was managing through the 80s Savoy Brown and 10 years after. And Jimmy, of course, sang with Savoy Brown for probably a year or 2.
Yep.
And so he said, and I remembered Arnie. I hadn't seen him in many years. And he goes, "I can't believe you're still playing guitar." I had no idea. I said, "Well, great, thanks." And he said, "You're fantastic. You should be doing blues festivals." I said, "Yeah, I'm not a blues player." He goes, "You just played all blues." I said, "Yeah, I'm a rock player." So he said, "Well, you should be out there. You should be doing a lot more than you're doing," because I didn't realize you were playing. And he said, "You're just doing great." He goes, "I'm going to figure something out for you." I said, "Well, okay," because I really just play in the northeastern New Jersey area, except when we do Starz gigs around, go to England or Texas or wherever, Ohio. And so he called me a few days later. He said, I think you and Jimmy Coons would be great together. And I already spoke to him. He's a big Starz fan and likes you. Jimmy and I had met 10 years ago briefly, and with Carmine, actually.
Oh.
And so anyway, Jimmy and I got in touch, and then we went and just sat in with Andy Hilfiger's band, Tommy's brother, and we sounded great together. We loved playing with each other. We got along great. And one thing led to another. We've done about 6 or 8 gigs, and we started writing together. And I can't believe how fast we write and how perfect. It's just the way it is. Like Michael Lee Smith from Starz and we always wrote like that. And it's nice to have a collaborator because I can sing, but I'm not a top-notch rock singer like Jimmy or Michael Lee are. And so it's nice to have a great singer who can write and come up with melodies to my music.
And so you got this God's Tribute. How did that happen?
Well, that happened because they actually asked Starz to do it. And we're really not doing anything with Starz right now. And I said, "Geez, I don't know." And he said, so the guy said, "Well, why don't you just sing it yourself?" I said, "I don't think so. But maybe," I said. And then I kept thinking about it. And then time was going by, and I was worried, I was never going to get it done. And then I started playing with Jimmy, and I said, "Jimmy, you want to sing it? This is the song I chose." And he said, "Yeah." So that was the first thing we recorded. And we're recording in my own studio, which is good, which is fun. And, it came out really well. I guess you haven't heard it.
No.
But, it did come out really well. It was a little difficult because it's a really long song, and we didn't want to do it the same way they did it. And so arrangement-wise, it took some time to pull it together. And, it's a great song. And I see that there are 4 versions of that song on the album. "Gotta Keep Her Running"? You know that song?
Sure.
What a great song that is.
Yeah. And the Gods and Starz were kind of running parallel to each other, I think, in the late 70s, right? Did you ever do gigs with them or anything?
They opened on maybe a 3-act bill or something. And I remember them coming up to us and saying, they loved our band. They came out a couple years after us.
Sure.
And it was in Ohio. I don't remember who the other group was, and they were very nice guys. And I've been in touch with Mark Chatfield ever since. I've been friends with him for 40 years almost.
Wow.
He's the guitar player. Yeah, he's playing with Bob Seger right now.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, the tour.
Okay. Yeah. Bob's got some vertebrae damage or some such thing, and the fall tour has been postponed. So hope he's okay.
You mean Eric?
The Bob Seger tour.
Oh, Bob.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm still reeling from Tom Petty, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we all are. No doubt about it. We're
If anyone didn't love him, I absolutely loved him.
Mm-hmm. Everybody did. Yeah. What a loss.
Yeah, it's just shocking.
So we're with Richie Ranno, and I know another thing. I've been looking on your Facebook page. You've got an all-star band that you have that plays gigs as well.
Well, it's called Richie Ranno's All Stars, but it started off like that because I was changing members every 3 weeks, like whoever was available. Great. I always had great players in this North Jersey area, and then eventually it settled on Doobie from Starz and George from Starz, the bass player and drummer.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, listen, we've been doing this now for 2 years. It's now 17 years. And I said, why don't we change the name? I only stuck that name on there because I was the only guy at every gig. It was always different people. They said, no, we like it. So we have a logo that looks kind of like the Starz logo, and so we just left it at that.
And you're also doing the acoustic gigs. And another thing that I've seen you post a lot is a guy named Billy Monroe.
Oh, yeah, that's a great lineup. That's actually like a cover band from what we're doing is early to mid-'70s, which is really some of the greatest music of all time,
no
obviously.
doubt.
And Billy is fantastic. He's one of the most charismatic singers I've ever played. He is he's just amazing. I mean, people go nuts when they see him. Whatever he does great. And we got like local guys who have been, local rock stars for many years, and all put together, and it's really tight, and it's a really great show. We only do like 2 or 3 a month, and it's great. It's like a tribute to the 70s, basically.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome. And you mentioned that you've been writing with Jimmy, and you said it's going very well. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I think we've got 6 done, and I wouldn't say 6 done recorded. We got 4 completely recorded, and 2 that we're working on, and I know we'll get 2 or 3 more in the next couple of weeks, because we get together at least once or twice a week and just put the nose to the grindstone. And what we're hoping to do is get like a European deal of some sort, maybe Japan too. We've got something going on there, and maybe get out there and play in Europe. I mean, it's a shame that this giant American music market is dead, but it is. It's dead. It's only good for nostalgia. And Europe is where it's at, and it's because rap hasn't, what's the word, infested?
Or infected,
sure
something.
Well, it's not music. It's entertainment. I understand that, entertainment, but somehow people just can't seem to like rap and music. It's like it's toxic of some. It's toxic in a way that it seems to get young people's brains, and then they like are allergic to music or something. From what I'm observing. It's one or the other. They can't like both. It's like professional wrestling is to the sports industry.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
And you were mentioning that Starz is kind of quiet right now, but here all these years later, there's still interest in the band, and it's got to be pretty phenomenal that with all these years later that people still love the band.
Well, it is, considering that we got thrown under the bus by our manager right at our peak, and that's just the way it goes, but that's a long time ago, so can't think too much about it. But, it's cool. We might actually put, there's a label that we're talking to about putting out the very last concert that the original lineup of Starz played in 1978 in Ohio.
Wow.
We have a high-quality recording of it, and there's a label interested in doing that. So that would be nice. And it probably would come out 40 years after the show.
Hey, better late than never, right?
Yeah.
Richie, thank you so much for your time and an update on everything, and we really appreciate it. We're looking forward to seeing your work with the Gods Tribute and stuff with Jimmy Coons. It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. It's really pretty exciting, actually, just getting out there and writing songs again.
For Richie Ranno, I'm Mark Skaar.
Cool. Thank you.